right.
Jason has 3 minutes, he has to leave for the airport.
3 minutes?
10:40.
We've been quick on an agenda, but I don't know. Yeah. All right, we will go ahead and call the, are you good, Tracy?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We will go ahead and call the September 12th, 2023 Board of Public Works and Safety to order. Are there any adjustments to the agenda?
Yes, we do have one item to add to the end. It's a resolution for Saxony Hall.
Gotcha. Okay, is there a motion to add that to the agenda?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. That will be added to the bottom of the agenda. Moving on to announcements and presentations. Mackie, you have anything?
Yes.
I'm good.
We are gathered here today. Wrong speech. I'd like to recognize today a very important coworker of mine in the engineering department. She started at September 2nd, 2008. She joined Fishers from on September 2nd, 2023, and Houston celebrated her 15-year anniversary. She is, and this is not an exaggeration, an integral key to the engineering team. She's reliable, confident, smart, and hardworking. It's not just my words, but her work and impact on the city shows a lot of it. She took on the burden of 5G that in itself deserves a memorial or a statue. She has been also very instrumental in helping myself get situated and acclimated and working with the city when I first started. She actually took her months-long maternity leave my second day here. But when she came back, she was amazing to work with. She manages almost all of our capital projects, right-of-way permits, and has a lot of institutional knowledge that makes her absolutely irreplaceable. We're going celebrating Jane's 15-year anniversary of achievements with the city officials.
Good job, Tammy. And in 5G years, that's like 32. Yeah, right. Yeah, great job, Tammy. Thank you for all you've done. We'll move on to the consent agenda. Meeting minutes wise, all good, yeah. So is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Make a motion to
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Moving on to our resolutions. There's a request to approve a sanitary sewer service agreement for Cynthia and Woods. Mackie?
It's at Mackie, Director of Engineering. This is a request to approve a sanitary sewer agreement for a new development that's coming in on Cynthia Road, which is Cynthia and Woods. It's a residential development, and the assessment fees calculated at the rate of set forth in Fisher's code with the sewer connections and the plan review and inspection included. Cynthia and Woods is located east side of Cynthia Road, approximately 1,000 feet south.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
So,
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
second.
Second by Jeff. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. All right.
Sorry.
Motion carries. Similar concept, sewer service agreement for courtyards of Fishers.
Similar situation, this is a new development, just at the northwest intersection of 113th Street and Southeastern Parkway. This is about 50 residential lots in this development. The difference between this and the other one is that this has a reimbursement amount for upsizing their sewer line that connects to one of our lift stations just west of that development.
Any questions for Becky? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have a request to revoke right-of-way permits. Tammy, of all people.
Yes. So, before you today, before you today, there are 7 right-of-way permits for 5G that were originally presented to you in August of 2021. We have verified that they have not started construction on the structures within 2 years as required by state law. There are underground fiber located in those. Those were issued under separate permits. But we ask that you revoke the 7 permits that were today. And they will, if they want to construct at a later date, they will do it in writing.
you know, Tammy, how many we have left outstanding after we revoke these?
We have about 80 more that are in, that have not been constructed, but in the next coming months, probably not about 30, 35.
Would be revoked. Gotcha.
Have they built any of the residential? Like, okay, so I mean, I know we have 5G, but
Yeah,
of the ones that we permitted,
they have built about 60 or so. Most of them are kind of in the northeast corner, Canyon Ridge and stuff like that.
Any additional questions for Tammy, Jason?
Or Lindsay, what constitutes started, construction of? Can they interpret they laid the fiber as part of the construction?
That was under a separate permit.
But, I mean, the separate permit, yes, but what can it constitute, hey, we've already started by laying fiber, and you're revoking my permit now?
No, since the permit's limited to 5G,
Okay,
it would be.
It's limited to separate structure.
okay, not preparing it.
Yeah, no foundation has been poured, utilities haven't even been marked in the area. We've verified.
So is that like when it starts, like foundational?
Going vertical.
Yeah, put a permit?
Yeah, we consider it, once they put the foundation in, we
Yeah.
have the expectation that they're going to be installing it, but they have not put any foundation.
Law Lane State or?
I think we're in years for that, we're not. We're in.
Yeah.
Compliance.
Check.
Any other questions? See none, is there a motion? Got a motion. By Jason. All those in favor, please say aye. Thanks, Tammy. Next is a request to declare vehicle equipment as surplus for trade-ins. That's not anyone else, Lindsay?
Sure, yeah, it's just a request to declare these vehicles surplus so that Todd can trade in vehicles.
Gotcha.
Recommend that it be approved. She did not state what she'd be trading them for, but she did say that they're in good condition.
Most of our vehicles when traded in are.
Mayor's included.
Yeah. Mine was really bad. We wanted that thing. All right, is there a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jason, is there a second? Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Next is a request to approve second amendment to janitorial services agreement. Mr. Steiner.
Good morning. Eric Steiner, Assistant Director of Public Works Operations. So before you is a second amendment, a request to approve the second amendment to janitorial services for the city. The current 3-year contract with the Cleanup Group is set to expire December 31st of this year. With an effective date of January 1st, 2024, we are seeking approval to extend the Cleanup Group's contract for an additional 3 years, which will expire December 31st, 2026. With this approval, the 3-year extension, the yearly cost for 2024 will remain the same cost as 2023 of $585,000. However, there would be a reduction in scope of service to keep the same cost. In addition, with the scope reduction, Cleanup Group has agreed to clean the new Fishers Arts Municipal Complex at no additional cost when the facility opens up in the spring of next year. The contract price would then increase 3% in 2025, followed by 3% in 2026, which would be, in 2026, the price would be $620,626. And would entertain any questions.
Now does this clean all municipal buildings
Yes.
with the exception of fire stations?
We do the administration of fire.
Right, but not the firehouses.
Correct.
Gotcha. Any additional questions? And in terms of reduction of scope,
Yeah, so for example, instead of emptying trash every day, it's 3 days a week. Instead of sweeping carpet 7 days a week every day, it's going to be one time a week.
vacuuming once a week.
Vacuuming once a week, exactly.
Good. I guess we can always
We can always
try that and
purchase-
see if it doesn't.
Yeah, we can purchase vacuums for the purpose of.
I mean, I can vacuum.
Right.
I do it at home.
Buy a robot.
That's a problem.
I mean, so like high traffic areas, like I'm thinking like entryways and that
Yeah, those will be clean.
Okay.
So it's not gonna live slightly.
Right.
We're trying to figure out how we can reduce
No, yeah,
and make, find that happy medium.
Sure.
Does it need to be done every day? Probably not.
Right.
So it's a lot of man hours.
Okay.
So had you kept that cadence, what would be the price roughly?
We're about $750,000.
So
200 grand for
doing that.
backfilling your own? I think we can handle it.
Labor and trash.
We got it.
and you're adding a lot of square footage.
Right.
So
What
it's
your
just-
services are worth.
That's right. What I do at home.
That's
All right, any other questions for Eric? See none, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you for
Thank
your
you.
cost saving efforts, Eric, and we'll adjust accordingly if Ed can't keep his office clean. So. Next, request to approve resolution amending City of Fishers traffic schedule.
Good morning, Rich Bassett, Asset Manager, Engineering Department. Before you is a request to approve resolution amending the City of Fishers traffic schedule. This is essentially expanding the existing 25-mile-an-hour zone downtown Fishers. Currently, it runs from Commercial to Fishers Point Boulevard. This extends it to the west down to Holland Drive. Kind of twofold. One, that is the extent to which we have pedestrian access on both north and south side of the road. And we anticipate in the near term installing some new radar speed limit signs within this area. And those are the locations we designated for installing those.
One point of clarification, the radar signs do not, it's not like an electronic license plate reader where you can
Correct.
take
It's
it,
simply a
just to let
feedback.
you know.
Simply feedback, that's correct.
Any questions for Rich? See none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries, thank you, Rich. Next is request to approve resolution declaring the city property as surplus. Luke?
Morning, Luke Gannon with Fishers Police Department, Assistant Chief. For you is a letter from Dr. Craig Johnson, Dr. Veterinary Medicine, recommending that canine Barry be retired due to his failing eyes and wear and tear on his feet. Traditionally, this has been transferred to Handler for a very low fund of $1. Make a motion that this canine be retired and transferred to Handler.
Any questions for Luke?
No.
Certainly appreciate the efforts of both the canine and then the handler. Who's the handler?
Same route.
Sam Ralph, for their years of service. And I assume the canine will be spending his retirement days with Officer Ralph.
Yes, that's right.
Any additional comments, questions? If not, is there a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Luke.
Yep.
Next is request to approve resolution declaring city property as surplus. Luke?
Yep, so Sergeant Tom Wager, after 26 years of exemplary service, retiring. And traditionally, we have retired the officer's sidearm with them. In this case, it is a 6 hour 229 with serial number Adam Mary 118751.
Certainly attended Wager's retirement party and excited for his next chapter. Any questions as we surplus his firearm? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion.
Motion by Jeff, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thanks, Luke.
Thank you.
Next is request to approve memorandum of understanding.
This one's mine. This is a memorandum of understanding with Dr. Toll. He owns the property at 13880 East 116th Street. He's wanting to repurpose his property for medical office. In doing so, he's worked closely with engineering and our planning departments to figure out how to make that happen, to pay the sewer impact fees and connection fees, and then it's came to actually connecting to the property that was prohibitively expensive. So he did pay the fees, but we agreed to allow him to stay on the septic system because it's been inspected, it's working, it's in good order, until such time as there's a sewer available a little bit closer to his property, or if the septic fails, or if the health department comes in and says that it needs to be replaced, at those times he would be required to connect.
makes sense. Allows him to make some use of the building he purchased. Any questions for Lindsay?
No.
Seeing none, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is request to approve second amendment to memorandum of understanding for snow removal HSE schools. Tis the season.
Tis the season. Eric Steiner, Assistant Director of Operations for Public Works. So before you is a request to approve the second amendment to the memorandum of understanding for the HSE schools. Snow removal, so be essentially every year we need to rent large equipment to help with our snow removal operations. It's typically 2 backhoes, and now we're up to 2 loaders staged over at HSE High School and at Citrus High School to service those corridor areas. Last year, HSE schools agreed that split the cost with us 50-50. It was around $43,600 last year. Split that up, it's $21,800 for each. And this year they've agreed to the same. Prices increased to $46,608. And so they're agreeing to pay half of $23,304. Accept any questions?
Expensive.
I should remember this conversation from last year.
Same.
That's the cost of this. Oh, yeah, no, I was, yeah, just sort of my mind's
More for rental, right?
Now, does that give you a certain number of hours with the loaders then, or?
No, essentially we have the equipment. If we get a blizzard and we're using them 24/7, obviously there would probably be no expense for that. But history shows we don't.
It's been a while. It's been a minute.
Exactly.
So then, we still bill for the pickup trucks then, and then we just, the loaders are just, what about the labor for the loaders?
The labor is billed on top of that as well.
I
So
see.
it's
Okay.
part of our T&M that we do on a monthly
Gotcha.
basis.
Any additional questions for Eric? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jason, is there a second? Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Next is request to approve second amendment to on-call inspection services contract with RQAW Corporation.
Sam Mackey, Fishers Engineering, before you is an amendment to the on-call inspection services for the sanitary sewer constructions with RQAW. This is one of 2 on-call contracts that we have. The first one was with Christopher Burke. This is RQAW. The amendment is in the amount of $100,000. This is not to exceed. We do have money collected from the developments that will take care of this budget and Christopher Burke's. So this is just to extend the work that they have for the rest of the year, and whatever's left can go on to the next year as well.
Any questions? Seeing none, is there a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jason, is there a second? Second. Second by Jeff, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Final item that we added to the agenda is a resolution consenting to encroachments. Lindsay, do you want to cover this real briefly?
Sure, yeah, this is part of the Saxony Hall transaction where the city is selling Saxony Hall to Interstate. There are some encroachments that are present on the property, and so whenever the private party takes over the property, they want to keep those encroachments with the city, and so this is a consent to those encroachments. It looks like it's a southeast occupation line that crosses riprap and sidewalk, ADA ramp, planters, and concrete wall.
Any questions for Lindsay on this? Seeing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Jason, is there a second?
Second.
Second by Jeff, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Seeing no other agenda items, is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion by Jeff, second by Jason, all in favor, please say aye. Motion carries, meeting adjourned.